It's very musical. You're very, very technically quite polished. Nicely done. Very, and you're intelligent too. I think you've studied this score. You know this piece very well. There's some interesting voicings and very, very good playing. So we'll do a few things together. First of all, I want to say this to you. Every composer has a particular type of music that defines that composer. So with Schubert, it's probably the leader, right? With Beethoven, do you know what it is? It's the string quartets. So the string quartets go through his life, and they show you all of the changes that he goes through, that you hear in the piano sonatas and in the symphonies and everything else around it. So for me, the two turning points in understanding Beethoven when I was your age was the two things that really helped me most were, number one, hearing great string quartets play. So I was living in New York and I heard the Cleveland Quartet was just making their name. And I would go to an apartment of a parent whose kids I taught, and I would sight read the quartet in the afternoon, the three quartets we were going to hear. Then we'd have dinner, then we'd go hear the Cleveland Quartet play the quartets. So I heard all the quartets, and it really changed my whole understanding of Beethoven. There's a very famous story of do you know the quartets very well?
Not very well.
Not very well, yeah. I mean, I understand that. I didn't know them either until I was your age, and it was in Aspen, actually, in the summer when I first started. I heard the Juilliard Quartet playing them, and I went, wow. And then in New York, I heard the Cleveland. But there's a very famous story of a pianist who heard a young pianist play some early Beethoven, and the teacher said, well, do you know the opus 18 string quartets? And the student said, no. And the teacher said, here, go home and learn the opus 18, go listen, and then come back and we'll talk about this piece. I mean, it's a famous story because the quartets tell you so much. So I think what I hear, I'm telling you this because I want to say to you, you use, number one, you use too much pedal. And everybody pedals differently. I understand that. We pedal by ear. I understand that. But you pedal at times where you lose often the linear dissonances that are the key to the expression of the music. And when you pedal like that, it says to me, well, you're not hearing the most important thing you should be hearing. And you'll hear that in the quartets. And once you hear the quartets play about those kinds of suspensions, you realize, well, when you go to the piano, you just won't pedal like that because it will make sense to you not to. So be careful with your pedal. The other thing is that you're just a little bit loose, I would say the word, with your timing, with your tempo. So for me, I would have, this is still classical period. You're just a little too free. It's not, there's nothing bad. I mean, you play very musically and you play even classical style. You play well, but you take liberties in places and you change tempos in places. And I listen to it and I say, a quartet can't do that. And then the Beethoven players, for me, the other thing I should say to you, I also heard everybody plays Beethoven, but you have to finally say, well, who do you think really, who are your idols in Beethoven? And for me, I mean, in my student days, Rudolf Serkin was playing, and I loved Serkin's Beethoven. And then Richard Good has come along. I love Richard Good's Beethoven. So, and Kemp plays beautiful Beethoven. So there's three great Beethoven. Grendel also. I mean, there's four, but really for me, Serkin and Richard Good and Kemp, and if you hear them, they're very different artists. And you've had Richard Good give classes. Have you had any master classes with Richard Good? Have you seen him teach?
No.
So I've said, he's very, he's not like a dictator. He doesn't, he won't say you can't change. He's very open to interpretive ideas of different people. But if you hear him play, and the same as Serkin or Kemp, they won't change tempos quite in the way you change tempo. So, that's the other thing that I would say to you. You will learn a lot from the quartets. So let's go through. We're going to touch on a few things. So the first thing I want to hear you do is I just want to hear the melody. I want to hear how you play that melody if you're just a violinist. You can use pedal if you like, but just violinist. Yeah, but play it the way you played the opening. Play it like it's meaningful. Like you played the opening quite beautifully before. Play it quite beautifully. Make it the piece. Don't stop. Try again and don't stop this time, okay?
Oh, continue?
Yeah, okay, continue from the beginning. Okay, you can stop. So listen. So every time you've played, this 16th note has been a different speed. So train yourself. Do things like this. Good. Now just play without repeating. Play in the proper rhythm. It's a little quicker. It's a little quicker. Again. Very good. Very good. Go on. Go on. Yeah. So let me show you. If you play this. So that's in time, and it's expressive as you were playing, but it's really it's not mechanical, but it's in time. So you do the same thing. Play beautifully, but play in time. Try. That's late. That E flat is always late. Good. Gotta grow. That's right. That's exactly right. So practice that. I mean, as I said to you, you played it quite lovely. I mean, it's quite lovely you're playing. It really is. But it's not exactly like that's better. That timing is better. So now do something if you can. You've played this by memory, right? You've played this sonata by memory, have you?
Partially.
Oh, partially. Okay, so then I won't make. So you can use your music, but now I want you to do the top and the bottom at the same time. So I want you to play. Go on to here, just the bottom, just to there. Let's hear you. I don't want the E flats, just two lines. Soprano, violin, and cello. Okay, so I feel like, can you show me your left hand? Left hand. No, I don't want two notes. I want one note. No, E flat. Good. No E flat. Very good. Very good. So now, no E flats, and just play two lines of violin and cello. So. Very good. Now I want to ask you, I'm going to look for something else right now. Play the opening as if you're on stage and you're in Carnegie Hall. Let's hear the opening, all the notes. So let me ask you, can you play the very first chord should be so beautiful. Do you play this? Do you play that concerto? Yeah, so it's the same thing, right? You walk out and suddenly you have to get this beautiful G major chord before you go on. This is the same idea. So before you play, hear a sound in your ear. It should sound like that. When you play, I hear kind of a poked sound in that C. So really pedal down and a beautiful sound to start. Let's see you try. Okay, that's better. So that's getting better. So now let's two things I need to tell you. So when you're playing here, if you're in a quartet and you've played and you're now on this chord, you're sustaining that note, right? You're not. So on the piano, and I'm sure you've heard this many times, but it's one of the things about the piano that we as pianists have to overcome is the fact that we play the note, and number one, it gets softer right away. We don't have any control over the pitch level. But the other thing is, we're not involved at all in making music. So we can sit here and I can talk to you while I'm playing the note. It's very unmusical to not be involved with the sustain of a pitch. So we can't change that. But we have to be aware of it. And the way we become aware of it is to listen to the note sustain. And I want to show you something. It's as if you do this. It's as if you're hearing the note increase almost. But except I don't play it, but I listen to it. Do you hear that?
Yeah.
Let's see you try that. Okay, so that was much better. It really was. It's much better right away. Now we're going to talk about something else. So I had you play top and bottom, and I'm going to make a little bit of a fuss with you. I want you to understand. I've asked my students, and when I give master classes, and I say to people, why do we study Bach? And the answer, well, we study Bach because Bach writes counterpoint, and we have to learn how to play fugues and independent counterpoint, and it's good for your hands physically. But the real answer, the most important answer of why we study Bach, every conservatory in the world, people study Bach. I mean, aside from the fact that he's a great composer too, but there's the one most important thing we learn from studying Bach is to hear independent lines. And the reason is not so we play his fugues better. That's fine. The reason is that all music is linear. All music is lines. So you have it in this opening. Your first thing you would want to do in this opening is play the lines. Play the soprano with the bass. Equally. You know, I say to my students, who's more important, the soprano or the bass? The answer is obviously, they're both important. You don't tell a cellist he's not important or she's not important, right? They're both important. They're inverted too. So the first thing I do is soprano bass. And it's not just Beethoven, it's Schubert, Chopin, Rachmaninoff. Music consists of lines, and that's why we study Bach, so we can learn to hear lines. Now let me show you the reason I stopped and talked so long about it. So you know, the first two measures now is very, very good. I talked about top and bottom, talked about hearing the long note when you're not playing, which you did very well just now. Then the third measure you have, I'm going to call it the violist playing this. So you play that viola line. You're quite musical, and you don't play that viola line musically because you're not trying to. It just hasn't occurred to you to think like that. So in your playing, if you play this opening and you get to here, watch how the violist. You know, that's how a violist plays. Beat, right? It's really important. It's the only moving line in the place. So, and then of course, after everybody, all of the entire quartet plays with the violist. You have 4 people playing that hairpin. So go from here and then show me a beautiful viola line. That's much better. That's much better. You can do that's much better for a first time. That's very good. You know, you really can do even more. And again, when you play with, you go listen to great quartets and you will hear what I'm telling you. Just focus on the viola and say, wow, I mean, that is such beautiful playing. And then realize we're pianists. We have to do all of that, right? Okay. So, now I want you to play. I want you to play your right hand beautifully, okay? Okay, so let me stop you. Now let me tell you, if I'm playing that, let me tell you what I'm thinking. So I just finished this beautiful opening. This line, by the way, is same as the viola line from the opening, right? But listen to me for a second. So here I play. Now I'm going to answer that upside down. So they really sound different. This one came up, up, up to there. Listen to the G, and then suddenly we're answering it going down, ending on the slur. And now we're going to start soft, going up again, up, 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 up to that note. So it's and then it's over, right? The whole thing deflates after in that one measure. So play me a really beautiful right hand from the beginning. That's too fast. It's too fast. Almost. Let me stop you. So you got here, and every note was the same. still not good enough. Listen for a second. You don't be loud here. You start your crescendo. 2 notes slower, coming up, F, and up. It's now down. Okay, every note counts. Second line. Atta girl, atta girl. That's very, very good. That's very, very good. Like I hear you, I hear you play the first time, and I say to myself, I listen to you play, and I say, okay, you're very musical, and you play it very well. What do I need to tell you to play it better? And I think there's no one big thing I can tell you. What I need to tell you, and that's why it takes so long on a small part, is you can play everything better. You should play everything better. You have more in you than you were getting before. And it needs just what I just showed you, more vocal, more careful, play from inside, be sure you know which note you're going to, and go to it like with real intensity. I'm going to skip ahead because there's a couple little things I want to show you. I mean, that's the most important thing I want to show you, to be honest with you, but I'm going to skip ahead. What I would do if I had more time with you right now is I'd do the same thing I did in the opening. I'd say, okay, you've got a beautiful soprano. Now let's hear. And it reaches up to coming up, and now. So again, it's the top and the bottom, right?
Yeah.
And what I want you to remember is, when you go hear a great quartet play, and when you get a chance, go hear a great quartet play. Focus on the cellist. Focus not on you know what I mean? Focus on the cellist. Focus on the violist. Listen, and then you will hear what I'm saying. And then you add that together, and that becomes really great music making. And that's what we, as pianists, that's what we have to do. We have to play all of it like that. Okay, so that's really nice. It's really nice to hear you play like that, because I know you're that musical. It's good to hear you be able, in a quick little, 35 minutes, boom, but suddenly you're playing really at a different level. But you have to, in classical style, this is classical style, as you know, right?
Mm-hmm.
Less is more. Always less is more. So you don't have a lot of notes. You have to make a lot out of fewer notes. Okay, I want to show you, let's see. Can you play, okay, let me see if I can show you this place. I want to work on those two measures. So I want you to work like this. First of all, play them for me as you hear them. Let me just hear you play just 2 measures. Good. Okay, so listen for a second. So can you hear, with our Zoom from Canada to China, can you hear that that's different?
No.
Okay, so I'm going to explain to you why. So, I want you to practice this. So here's what you have to listen for in this place. You have, those are the melodies, right?
Yeah.
But he plays. So if I stop right now, what do I have? I have
Yeah.
A9, yes? Separated by an octave. So that's what you're not hearing. So practice for me right now. Play this and stop. Sorry. Go there. Okay? Drop. Good. Let me ask you, do this with no pedal, okay? Let's stop. Go on. Yeah, and you don't have any. I feel like you're pedaling. It sounds like. Let me show you something else. The right hand, you sound like that's your right hand, but the right hand really is. It's got that octave displacement each time. And a violinist plays like that. So, I mean, we both know, yes, of course that's a melody. I hear that. But it really isn't some kind of an accompaniment thump. It's, and same with this, the viola. Yeah, da, boom. So you put those together, you bop, 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 bum, bop, bop, bop. So no pedal, so you really hear the dissonances and the melodies. Try that. I want you to stop them, okay? That was good, but I want you to play this and stop right there, and then go on and stop right there. Good. Okay, so you hear that, yeah? So now once, play like that. I'm playing slower, I'm not using any pedal, and I'm listening for that tied dissonance. Yeah, it's okay, it's not quite as good. You're not hearing that. You're used to just hearing that. So practice that, and then practice the idea. That's a dissonance, yeah? So each one resolves as they go on. So that's very good. Can you hear that was right? Do you realize that was right?
Yeah.
I can hear your ears. I can hear you. Now you're listening for the right thing. And that's the essence of the music in that place. Very, very good that you could do that. Let's talk about, we just got a couple of minutes left. You know, I want to talk about, let's go on to this, you know what you did nicely? When you played that, it should really kind of interrupt, and you did that very, very well. So I want you to play right on it right now, and go right through the trills, and go right through the end of the trill. So start right here. So the things I want to tell you are this. When you start to trill, first of all, when you start to trill, that's what I should hear. I should hear that, and I don't. I hear a kind of a, just kind of a wash of a whole bunch of sounds. With Beethoven, his trills, you know this, and but they're very for a reason. And in this particular place, what you really want to hear is the principal note, the main note against that fret. That's what you're listening for. So make sure that principal note is heard. Don't pedal so much in that right hand. And one last thing I want to tell you about this place, which most students have a problem with. So you do all these, you know, you roll your way up, you roll up. So you get to these last three notes. So they're very important notes, as you know. The technique of playing them be on the key, Make sure your finger is on the key and pushes off. Yeah, but make sure, but right to the last one. The last one is the most important. The B flat's the loudest. Atta girl. Very, very good. So one more time, see if we can go. Yeah. Everything's good except your last few notes. You're used to kind of hitting those notes from the top. But otherwise, the trills work very, very well. I can hear it against the right hand. Just, you know, when we feel places musically and they're very intense, the tendency is to come from above. And coming from above, it's a bad sound. So you just have to have your hand on the key and push. Atta girl. How about I'm gonna do one last thing with you. So let's do the ending. Very good. Do it without a crescendo. Okay, that was good. Do one more time and go on, and go and stop here. Go right to the F minor, okay? So start here again. Okay, stop. So, you know, what I want to tell you is this. You play that D flat really beautifully. You really do. You play it beautifully, but you do it by you take a lot of time before you play it. And what I want to suggest that you do, you play it with color. Do it with color, don't do it with time. I mean, so get to that. You're here. Sorry, I missed it. So do it in time, but do it with color. Try. Yes. Atta girl. Okay. And once you've done that, if you want to delay maybe one tiny, 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 tiny bit, then you can delay a tiny, 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 tiny bit. But you delay a whole bunch before it. And it's like less is more. Classical style, less is more. Okay, that's all we have time for. That was a pleasure. You're very, very musical. You did pretty much everything I asked you. You did tonight very well. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you. Okay. We have our last performer today.
Yep.
Opus 31.
She's good. Both kids good.
Here we go.
45.
Sorry, wait a minute. I just have to find the position.
Okay, that's okay.
Are you sure? Are you sure, Jim? Do you need some more?
I had her. The camera was cut. Now I don't have her anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Camera's a little wobbly.
Adjusting, I think.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay. I'm okay.
We can't see the keyboard from. Okay.
That's okay. It's okay.
It's okay.
As long as the camera stays stable.
Okay, I'm sure they'll adjust. All right. Okay.
I've lost her, CD. Have you got her? Oh, there we go. Good. Okay.
Okay.